Good morning, Figaholic friends. Today is Tuesday, January 3rd. We've had some rainy weather, quite a bit. We had some severe storms over New Year's Eve, some flooding in some areas. We're okay here. And we're supposed to get some more strong rain and winds over the next couple of days, but we're still getting some pruning done. We finished pruning in our main orchard. We've got some trees that we've planted near our home, and we're getting those done. I want to discuss the merits of grafting. I've promoted grafting of some fig varieties in the past, and I recently became aware that some different thoughts on the matter, and I'm not trying to stir up an argument on the matter, but I want to give my ideas on it. I've promoted grafting, primarily in instances when you're trying to get trees to grow faster on a more vigorous rootstock, and that might be because that variety is known for being notoriously slow on its own roots, and sometimes that was the case for Black Madeira, and I would say I had problems with Bordeaux Negro Ramada, and here I have in front of me a Bordeaux Negro Ramada that I grafted onto brown turkey, and it's grown very well for me. One of the risks of grafting that was shared is the potential of a freeze killing back your tree to the ground and then you losing that variety. My friend Bass in Pennsylvania and I discussed this about 10 years ago, so it's not a new idea that I've become aware of, but I discussed with him at the time what I would do if I lived in a cold area and planted in the ground is plant that tree so the graft union is at least a foot below ground level. And he mentioned, well, yeah, but then your graft is going to put roots out also. And I said, that's not a problem, because if the rootstock is still more vigorous, it's going to dominate. And he agreed with me on that. I've learned a lot from Bass, but we have shared information back and forth. So we're still good friends, even if I'm right sometimes and he's right sometimes. Anyway, that's what I would do if you're going to take the risk of planting a cold sensitive tree in the ground, such as figs. If you're living in zone 6, plant it so the graft union is well below ground level so that it protects the graft from freezing. I also think that in cases like this, I get a more vigorous cutting from these grafted trees. And from my own experience, when I grafted cuttings of my grafted Black Madeira, they usually grew much faster than cuttings from my non-grafted Black Madeira. And I know I had a couple people tell me that they had a tree that grew 5 or 6 feet, a Black Madeira tree, 5 or 6 feet the first year after getting a cutting from me from my grafted tree. So I think that one of the possible problems with some low vigor trees is the presence of fig mosaic virus in them. There's several strains of fig mosaic virus according to a nursery that did some tissue culture trials, and I think that some are more harmful to not just top growth but root development. And those cuttings have less vigor in them then, but if you get a high vigor cutting, they seem to develop roots much better. So that's one advantage. One other possible thing that I've read many years ago was that some varieties are thought to be resistant to root knot nematode. And this is about 10 years ago on the Old Figs for Fun forum. Someone said that they had read that LSU purple was resistant to root knot nematode. I'm not sure if that's correct or not. The other thing, my friend Francisco in Algarve, Portugal, mentioned that the Palmata species of ficus are immune to fig mosaic virus. And I've been growing the Palmata hybrid here, DFIC 0023 Palmata hybrid, and that has always been a very vigorous tree for me, growing up to 10 feet in 1 year. And I've never noticed any fig mosaic virus symptoms in that. It is, I believe, more cold sensitive. So again, if you're in a cold area, you're going to use that for rootstock to produce a very vigorous tree. I would plant it so that the graft union is well below ground level. I think that the only time I can think of that I would not want to graft a tree if other conditions, justified maybe wanting to graft, is if you wanted a low vigor tree and growing it in a pot, you would not want to grow a tree graft onto the Palmata hybrid. That's a really high vigor tree. So you obviously got to balance that there. But if you're going to be planting in the ground, I think if you have a variety that is very special because it's expensive cutting and you want to try multiple grafts to ensure propagation, or it's a slow growing variety, I think that you should give grafting a try. So thanks for watching. Hope everyone stay safe and stay dry. Thanks for watching.